A report by CareEdge stated that non-performing assets in Indian banks had reached a 6-year low at 5.9% but remained higher than all peers, except Russia. It also predicted that the percentage would reduce further because of better credit management and restructuring of bad loans under the National Asset Reconstruction Company. A different report from Motilal Oswal indicated that the bank's asset quality would improve because of better recovery rates and healthier balance sheets. The credit rating agency S&P predicted that the NPA percentage would be between 11 and 12%. Recent numbers show that the agency is off the mark yet again. In the first quarter of this fiscal year, the Motilal report predicted a profitability growth of 40% for private banks and 6% for public sector banks. In an asset quality review in 2016, the Reserve Bank of India flagged non-performing assets as much as 10%. It forced the banks to recognize these bad loans and create a provision of 16 lakh crore rupees. From 2004 to 2014, corruption and loan nepotism marked the legacy of the UPA-led government. Many willful defaulters absconded from the country, but the present government seized and liquidated their physical assets to pay off the loans.
In a telephonic conversation, the Indian Defence Minister, Rajnath Singh, conveyed New Delhi's serious concerns about the United States of America's defense grant of $450 million to Pakistan. Singh discussed with his counterpart, Lloyd Austin, ways to strengthen technological and industrial collaboration and explore cooperation in emerging and critical technologies between India and the US.
Had a warm and productive telephonic conversation with the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Mr. Lloyd Austin. We discussed growing convergence of strategic interests and enhanced defense and security cooperation. I conveyed India's concern at the recent U.S. decision to provide sustenance package for Pakistan's F-16 fleet.
Accusing Islamabad of continuing support for terror activities, former U.S. President Donald Trump stopped this program. Some analysts attribute the resumption of aid to Pakistan as a tit-for-tat response to India's continued buying of Russian energy, even if it compromises the burgeoning bilateral security relationship. They accused Washington of being an unreliable security partner.
India's first secretary in the Indian Permanent Mission in Geneva, Pawan Badhe, strongly criticized Pakistan at the UN Human Rights Council meeting in Geneva.
Pakistan has again abused the platform offered by this August Council for peddling its malicious propaganda against India. My delegation rejects its baseless statements. They don't deserve our response. Pakistan has an abysmal record in the promotion and protection of the human rights of its people. Pakistan has one of the worst records in ensuring the right to freedom of religion or belief for its minorities.
Islamabad routinely uses extrajudicial abductions, enforced disappearances, arbitrary detentions, and tortures as tools of state policy to crush dissent. It targets human rights defenders, political activists, students, and journalists systematically.
Beijing once again blocked attempts by New Delhi and Washington to designate Lashkar-e-Taiba handler, Sajid Mir, a recognized global terrorist. India charges Mir for his role in the 2008 Mumbai terror attack that killed 175 people and injured 291. Together with the United States of America, India wanted to blacklist Mir under the 1267 Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee of the UN Security Council. Using voice recognition and geolocation technologies, India and the US identified Mir as having directed the terrorists during the Mumbai siege through a satellite phone. He gave real-time instructions to terrorists on where to look and whom to kill. Pakistan arrested Mir in 2022 and sentenced him to 15 years on terrorist financing charges in May. There are 2 outstanding Interpol notices against him. At the behest of Pakistan, China has been protecting many terrorists. Recently, it blocked the inclusion of Abdul Rahman Makki, a known LET and Jamaat-ud-Dawa leader, and Abdul Rauf Azhar, the brother of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar.
Responding to a Reserve Bank of India call for increased arrangements in trade using Indian rupees, the Federation of Indian Export Organizations announced emerging agreements with Russia. With emerging simplified payment settlement arrangements just like New Delhi's existing mechanism with Tehran, the State Bank of India would be the settlement bank from India. Similarly, once Russia provides a non-Western sanctioned bank, the 2 countries will start trading in rupees. With this agreement, Indian dependence on the US dollar will reduce and facilitate increased trade with Western-sanctioned Russia. Exporters estimate the exports to Russia will move to about $5 billion. Moscow has already devised a plan to replace European customers with new ones. According to an analytical company, Kepler says that Indonesia, Pakistan, Brazil, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and many Middle Eastern are willing to buy up to 1 million barrels of crude oil a year. Russia is already selling increased quantities of energy to China and India at deep discounts.
The United Kingdom passed a new law that granted the Home Minister to strip British people their citizenship without warning. The Nationality and Borders Act allowed drastic measures on individuals on the following conditions. If the action would serve the public interest without rendering them stateless, they had obtained citizenship through fraud, they indulged in anti-national activities, and they could claim citizenship elsewhere. The Home Ministry says, between 2010 and 2018, 19 people lost their citizenship because of public interest concerns, 17 because of using fraudulent means to become a citizen. However, a legal website called Free Movement claimed that 175 lost citizenship for security reasons and 289 for fraud. An interesting aspect of this new law is that asylum seekers to the UK would get a residency permit in the African nation Rwanda. The UK criticized India for the Citizen Amendment Act to provide immigration to religiously persecuted minorities in its neighborhood. It castigated India for not allowing Muslim migration to India even if they faced no persecution in their native countries.
The United States warned the Democratic Republic of North Korea, or DPRK, that it would send an overwhelming decisive response to using nuclear missiles against its southern cousin. Washington vowed to defend South Korea with the full range of its military might, including nuclear, conventional, missile defense, and other advanced non-nuclear capabilities. This stark warning came after an extended deterrence strategy and consultation group meeting with Seoul. The bilateral meeting focused on ways to strengthen deterrence against DPRK aggression and more broadly counter the DPRK threat. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un demanded his scientists advance the country's atomic arsenal at the fastest possible speed and his military prepare for nuclear deployment against hostile foreign powers at any time. Earlier, DPRK asserted its right to use nuclear weapons automatically and immediately if its arsenal came under attack. Other than naval assets, the United States of America maintains a 30,000-strong troop presence in South Korea.
If you like this content, please press the like button and share it with your family and friends. Please consider subscribing to this channel. It is free. Press the bell icon to receive notifications about new content.